Welcome. And once again, I got to give our owner, Steve Cohen, all the credit in the world. I'm going to tell you why momentarily, but another day, another day. Mets spring training, we all know, has begun, and it hasn't begun in a way where Mets fans are happy about. Obviously, the news of Kodai Senga not being able to start the season, starting it on the IL, not good, not good. Pete Alonso, not signed, not good either, not good either. Okay, life of a Mets fan. That's what it is. Life of a Mets fan. Fortunately, we all have a tougher exterior than most other fan bases. We're used to things going wrong. The shoe, the foot, whatever the expression is. We're used to bad stuff happening. Bottom line, bottom line. But you know what? We're gonna push forward. We're going to do our best. If we need to, put pressure on our organization, that's part of being a baseball fan. But you know what? We're going to get into the video right now. Like, subscribe. You like your Mets content, interesting baseball content? Stick around. Like, subscribe, share. You know what to do. Can't say thank you enough. Really appreciate you. All right. So let's get down to business. Today, Steve Cohen, our owner, and I got to say, Steve Cohen's had his finger on the pulse of the people ever since he got here. I don't agree with every move. Of course not. A lot of moves have been not perfect, but there's been an intention behind everything he's done. Whether it be the Verlander, whether it be the Scherzer, whether it be signing guys like Escobar and Marte to shore up the offense a couple of years ago, Kana, adding like high-priced guys in the bullpen, giving Edwin Diaz $100 million contract, Nimmo giving him the contract. There's always been a good faith intention to turn things around and spin this organization in a good direction. Now, I was just saying, and I've seen this. I forgot exactly where I saw the article, but I agree with this wholeheartedly. That's why I'm going to bring it up. What would be the perfect thing to change what's going on in spring training? And what's going into spring training, obviously, there's some negativity with the Kodai Senga injury. The perfect thing to change that bad feeling is to sign Pete Alonso. That would basically give the fans goodwill, right? Goodwill. Now, everybody's saying the only thing standing in the way is Scott Boras, which I think is ridiculous. I think this year, Scott Boras' free agents right now not even being signed, that really just tells you, hey, maybe you shouldn't really listen to Scott all the time. If you have a contract and you're happy with the contract, if the Mets offer a contract and Pete's happy, why not sign? I mean, at the end of the day, there is still a risk. God forbid Pete gets really hurt. God forbid he gets really hurt. And there's questions going into his future years. I mean, things can still happen. I would always advocate, if you got a mega deal on the table and you're 100% satisfied, take the deal. I mean, on the other token, yeah, it is really respectable to bet on yourself, but you never know what happens. Okay, so Steve Cohen made some comments about Mr. Pete Alonso and basically said, I'm not tone deaf. I want Pete Alonso here. And I thought that was so telling because there has been a lot of criticism. Yes, there's Met fans who are very happy and saying, yeah, David Stern, he has a plan. He knows what he's doing. He's getting this depth piece and that depth piece, and he's waiting till 2025 to pound. Yeah, David Stearns. I mean, you know what? Am I happy about some moves? Yes. Am I happy about the whole dynamics of the team? No, because I don't think that it's wise to give up or not put the pedal to the metal on any year. Every year, I believe you should be trying to win a World Series if your owner is Steve Cohen and you're in New York City. Bottom line, that should be the goal. Because if you need a player, you could spend the money and it's not going to hurt you going in the future because Steve Cohen has more money. Since he acquired the Mets, I think he was valued at $13.7 billion. And just 3 or 4 short years later, he's valued at $20 billion. He made $7 billion in 3 or 4 years. How many of us could say the same? I mean, really, how many people in the world could say the same? Only a handful of people. So obviously, whatever money he does spend, he could just make 10, 20, 30 times more money. So it's not a problem. But the good thing about Steve Cohen communicating to us, the fans, he's saying, I hear you, I hear you, which kind of makes me think, hey, you know what? He obviously respects David Stern and he has confidence in David Stern, but he inside is probably chomping at the bit too, saying like, David, you don't want to take 25, 30 million, give it to this guy, or, 15, 20 million, give it to that guy and get a DH. And I'm pretty sure David Stern's, no. David Stern doing his thing. But it just gives me the indication how he's talking to the fans. And, obviously they're doing this YouTube thing, talking to the fans. Steve Cohen, he was the first guest, and I like it. I like it. That's what I've said. I've said, if you're going to do things differently, always communicate with the fan base. Communication is the key, because if you don't communicate, if we don't hear things from Steve Cohen, the horse's mouth, we are going to fill in the blanks, and 9 times out of 10, it will not be accurate. It won't, because how could we honestly know? I mean, if we're upset, we're going to go by our emotions. Our emotions are going to fill in the blanks. So, I respect the fact that our owner is taking accountability, responsibility, and he really wants to put this on his shoulders and say, I'm where you are, and I'm going to do everything I can to sign Pete Alonso because I want him here. I want him here. And that's honestly what I want to hear. Now Pete Alonso, I get the indication that honestly, if the Mets made him a strong offer, I really do think he would sign. I really do think he would sign because I'll tell you what, no matter where Pete Alonso goes, even if he goes to a place where he gets paid $50 million more, right? At the end of the day, he's a homegrown Met, right? Met fans are fanatical about their homegrown Mets. We are attached. And I'm the same way, like David Wright, Jose Reyes, Jacob deGrom. The list really kind of goes on and on. If they are homegrown Met, you are attached. We are attached to the players, right? And especially when they are star players like a Pete Alonso. And Pete Alonso is doing things, and we always mention this, he's going to be potentially a Hall of Famer. He's definitely going to be a Hall of Fame Met if he continues this trajectory. But if he continues this trajectory, he quite possibly can be a Hall of Fame player. And Mets want to take responsibility. That's our play. That's my guy. My guy hitting 50 home runs, 45 home runs each year in an era where not many players are doing that. But he's my guy. And if he ever wins a World Series in Queens, he will be he will have godlike status in New York City. Godlike status. I mean, people still respect, the 86 team. And how long ago was that? That was a very long time ago. We're going on, 40 years? 40 years in about a year, 2 years. So, Doc, Darrow, Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling, they're royalty. But a guy like Pete Alonso, who is just that much better, in my opinion. So that's what Pete Alonso has to remember and consider. Also, too, he has to consider failure. He's going to be an aging player, and it's not going to be a soft landing elsewhere. And it's certainly not going to be a soft landing in a place where you're getting a lot of money, because I assume that any place that acquires Pete Alonso, that means they made more of an offer than Steve Cohen. They made a higher offer than Steve Cohen, so that fan base will be expecting a lot, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. So, in the hearts of Mets fans, no matter what Pete Alonso does, the Mets fans will always cherish. He will always be our guy. We will always say, oh, when is Pete going to break the records? When is Pete going to do this? When is Pete going to do that? Is he going to return 10, 20 years after his retirement? I mean, Mets fans love that. Mets fans love to see Mike Piazza. They love to see Tom Seaver. They love to see their legend. We love to see our legend. It is just something that I find is very special with Mets fans. There's a connection there. And it's special. And I don't think at the end of the day, Darryl Strawberry said it. Darryl Strawberry said when he left to go to the Dodgers, I believe it was like 1990, that was one of the biggest mistakes of his life. Now, are we going to talk, was Darryl talking about hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars? No, so it's a bit of a different decision. Pete has a lot more things to decide, but at the end of the day, it's, do you want to stay in New York or don't you? The Wilpons aren't here. You have the Cohens here. And one more thing about the Cohens, and I think there's a lot of frustration because a lot of people feel that the Cohens are reminding fans of the Wilpons. And it could be part of a very minor strategy. David Stearns, I'm pretty sure he has a 3 to 5 year strategy, but in this small window, he probably has a very conservative approach. Steve Cohen, in the back of his head, is like, I don't want to expose our larger plan, but in the future, the wallet will come back out. The wallet will come back out, and our weapon, which is that we have more money than any other organization, the Mets and Mets fans will be able to take advantage of that in the future. All right, so what do you think about those comments? What do you think about Steve Cohen communicating what he said about Pete Alonso? It's different. It's different. Not a lot of owners are upfront like this. Not a lot of owners like to comment about their star players and give their personal opinion. They really don't. I mean, honestly, it really sways negotiations into like a guy like Scott Boras. He's like, oh, Steve Cohen really wants my guy. Richest owner in baseball. Gonna cost you. But I don't think Steve Cohen cares at this point because he knows that Mets fans really want this guy, and he's basically like I said, he wants to convey, guys, girls, I want him too. So relatable. Steve Cohen's being relatable, and I gotta say, when I talk about Steve Cohen, I come from a place of admiration. I mean, at the end of the day, like, he's a guy like, I'd admire like a self-made billionaire from New York. I mean, that's pretty amazing. And then also, obviously, big baseball, big New York Mets fan. So, all good stuff here. All right. That's what I got for today. What do you think? Like, subscribe. When we got some more content coming, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a pretty interesting spring training. I anticipate a lot of the stuff coming. I do. I anticipate a lot of storylines. So stick around, like, subscribe. I will talk to you very, very soon. Thank you.